in the fucking ground.
No, but those holes are just to let the stuff vent. They're not that big a deal. They're like, what? I mean, 10 feet, something like
that? What?
10 feet. Those holes that you're talking about are like 10 feet long. Deep. Sit inside of them. They're not that long.
Go see the valleys from where they launched the shuttles from.
They're not that big.
They're bigger than 10 feet.
I stood inside the ones for the shuttle. It was like 10, maybe 20 feet at most. But it was not like.
I would say meters, not feet.
No, we use feet in America. It wasn't that deep. I'm telling you, it was not that big a deal.
Well, actually, last time you guys used feet instead of meters, you ended up flying past Mars. Anyway,
the point I'm making is that it wasn't been in there and it wasn't that deep. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but
that's because the U.S. launch platforms eject a shit ton of water to compensate for the thrust. If you go to Baikonur, there's a reason why that launch pad is over the edge into a big long pit underneath it.
Yeah. My impression was that was to deal with the heat just not shooting in uncontrolled directions as opposed to stopping the thrust from getting fucked up. I mean, what would happen? I mean, let's say you really were just set against the flat ground and you launched a rocket. I mean,
well, but there's an entire flow pattern of the exhaust, right? And because you would actually get backflow into the exhaust and mess up the flow. That's what I'm thinking at first.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to the V2s.
I think that's true, but it's also true that there would be a force that would be generated that would be the force that they're talking about, because they'd have you'd be pushing you'd be trying to fire the molecules out of the rocket. They'd have nowhere to go. The only thing that could happen is the rocket would have to get pushed up. I don't know what would be worse, the fucking up the flow or the added, some added minor thrust there. But I mean, one thing's for certain, this is not the primary mechanism by which the rocket launches. I have no doubt about that. But I'm just sort of curious. It might work.
Think about this, Veach. If it's too close to a flat surface, and it extinguishes, and then a certain amount of the accelerant is released, and then the fuel ignites again, wouldn't that create a bit of a boom boom?
I don't think it would be safe for sure. I don't think that at all.
Yeah, let's try it with little rockets first.
Yeah, well, if you look at some of the V2 footage, you'll see they did it on flat surfaces, and then they decided to lift them.
Yeah. All right. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't even think it would be more efficient. I just am curious whether it could generate thrust enough to, sort of create enough space to create actual lift or not.
Well, you could do that with a model rocket, but with a full-scale rocket, you'd probably just melt the launch platform.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's why I was asking this pyrotechnician, like, how reliable the thrust is on those little model rockets you can buy. I think it's better just to buy like a motor, like rocket motor, right? You don't even have to build like your little model rocket. You just need to
actually
put it on a scale or something like that.
And
then
have
you can
an
measure
idea.
the thrust. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure if you Google it, somebody's probably sorry.
Oh, heard of oxy and acetylene? Thermal cutting torch.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this.
Okay,
I
so
never heard
fuel.
about the oxy thing. Oxy thing, I never heard about like a thermal cutting torch. Yeah, fun.
Yeah, so acetylene and oxygen. One's fuel, one's the oxidizer, right? Without the oxygen, the fuel just burns all sooty and whatever. But you add the oxygen, you get this blue flame come out of it. If you put that down onto a flat surface, it extinguishes.
Yeah.
It's got nowhere to go, and it has a thrust. There's actually, you can feel, like if you don't light it, you can feel pressure coming out of there.
That's because they're firing a whole bunch of model rocket motors and testing the thrust. Sounds like something a bunch of board engineering students would probably have already done on a project.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the guys that go on to be pyrotechnicians and not rocket scientists, those guys.
October Sky. Was that the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal? October Sky? I think it is.
Where are you going?
I almost fucking burned myself when I tried to make an oxidizer. I really, like,
I'm
fucking
sure that
idiot.
sentence. I'm sure that sentence has been uttered so many times in human history.
Like I made a potassium chloride out of salt,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
and and then I was like, all right, how do I turn it into potassium perchlorate? And I was like, all right, gonna Google it, and then all right, you just need to heat it up.
Oxidize it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just need to heat it up, and like making it like a little bit boil a little bit. So at some point it's gonna thermal decompose into potassium perchlorate, which is way safer oxidizer than potassium chlorate. And then how like it needs like 500 degrees Celsius, and I cannot do it on the stove, so I made a fire. Put it in
Oh,
a
jeez.
pan.
So an uncontrolled thermal ignition source.
Yes. Put it in a pan, got my little thermometer that like I could measure it, that it stays at like 450 degrees because it cannot get too hot, because otherwise it decomposes again into the product I don't need. So I put it in a pan, like made a fire around it. So like, oh fuck, it's like not hot enough. I have put it like closer to the fire. And when I try to pull out the pan, like it's I spilled a little bit of liquid potassium
Oh,
chlorate into the fire. Oh shit, man! Like it like it was so fucking bright. Like a fucking, if I would looked at it all the time, I would probably become blind from it. And like gave all like half explosion, like when it hit the ember. It was really funny. I'm never gonna do it again, by the way. Need another heat source than a fucking open fire. But it was funny. Well, no, let's not do that. But
He's back.
all right, let me ask you. Okay, like chemo. Since wait, no, you're making a lot of points at once. So let's stick with the rocket. Yeah, sure.
He has a hypothesis, but no experiment for that hypothesis. Again, chemo. You're wrong.
no, I'm just enjoying a story about a European almost burning their face off trying to make chemicals in a fire.
Yeah. Like that's not my fault. I mean, all those products are on a fucking blacklist. I cannot buy them anymore because some fucking idiot terrorist blew up shit.
He
It
wasn't
would
a
be
te-
way
he was
easier
just a.
to buy the shit, but no, I
They're
have to
just-
make it myself.
Oh, come on. They're just alternate thinkers.
Yes, exactly. They think the other people will only get their salvation if they get blown up. Like that's the only way to go to heaven.
Rig.
To
He's
for someone like you have to die by blowing up. That's the only way how to get to heaven. So they were trying to save a lot of people that way. No, that's not true, but anyway.
Sorry, Rig's banana bread just threw me then. Sorry.
So how do we know you're not a terrorist? And this is you're just setting up your backstory to say that you got this, you got all of this stuff just so you can make like rocket motors, right? Just
Yeah, that's
saying.
true. No, I will never blow someone up, other than myself probably, but
Well, that's something all terrorists would say, right? Just feel that way.
yeah. Wait, I
I'm
just
just kidding.
I just admitted it. I said I never would blow someone up other than myself accidentally, but
Actually,
Yeah,
someone
adding
thought,
that caveat at the end is
Accidentally
not
in quote,
convincing.
right? Accidentally.
yeah, someone thought Tinder age was GeoStreamer. You do sound a lot alike.
Yeah, it's probably because I was born in Switzerland and
Oh, there
I
you go.
speak German a lot. So you cannot hide your accent, basically.
No.
I could try to sound Italian, but I think that wouldn't.
That would be terrible.
Yes. Sì.
Or Swiss.
Ciao.
Terrible.
Yeah, very.
Che cazzo? Ma che fai? Or something like that. I don't know.
Or Swiss.
Mucho bene.
Molto bene. Molto.
Oh.
Per favore. Not mucho. Mucho è spagnolo.
Yeah.
Even I,
you
you're
know
just
that if
spitting
you
out
go up-
random Italian words now.
Well, no,
No,
it's if you
no.
actually go up into the
Io parlo
Alps.
italiano.
If you go up into the
tu
Alps, you
no.
get that mixed Italian / Spanish French
Yes.
fucking language. They're weird.
Yes. No, I'm not spewing a random words. I actually speak it.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. You were trying to discredit me. I know.
Well, I mean, to me, I don't speak Italian, so to me, it sounds like random Italian words.
Okay, that's true. That's true. I get it.
Like listening to Russians speak English and tell you that they love you. It's like a death threat.
Yes. Everything is a death threat in this week.
It's a very nice car. Be pity something happened to it. Best get insurance. Is something gonna happen to my car?
Yeah.
We've got to
The
thank the
gamer's gonna
Russians
go-
for popularising dash cams.
Actually, saw a video today of someone who said, "What if Knight Rider was made in Russia?" took one of their smaller Lada vehicles and swapped it in. It was funny as fuck.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are. We are live from Flat Earth Debate and More, where we discuss the
I
shape
swear
of the
this
Earth,
video
where we
from about
discuss
4 hours ago.
space, where we
You've already
discuss
done this, Spurs.
all these things that relate to what we're supposed to be on. So we're going to talk about rockets now, and how they allegedly work in an environment that doesn't allow them any maneuverability. They cannot turn left, stop, go right, reverse, any of those things. So,
Spurs, if a rocket could work in a vacuum, now I know they can't because you say so, but just say they could, how do you imagine that would work?
it's impossible. You would
No, but
need
come on.
some. You would need some.
Use your imagination.
No, I am now. Yeah, you would need some alien technology that we don't have to be able to maneuver through a medium that we can't push off. Essentially.
Like alien technology, like from the reptilian overlords, maybe?
No, from Roswell.
Yes, the reptilian overlords, as I said.
Well,
Did he say from Waswell?
Yeah,
Wasworld, I think
They're
you
not
said.
reptilians.
It's actually Wayne's World.
They're greys. They're not
We're playing
reptilian.
Roswell, I guess.
They're not. Yeah, Roswell. They're not reptilian. They're greys.
No, Waswell. It's from Australia.
Well, I'm saying that the reptilians are not from Roswell. They are the greys there. So that technology is what I'm talking about. In order to fly through space, you would need advanced technology that we don't.
But I was referring to rockets only.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just rockets.
It
as
wouldn't,
we have
even
them
if
now.
you're on a globe, it still wouldn't work.
Right. So you can't even think of a way, or imagine a way that they could work.
You'd need an anti-gravity device. Your device would have to be able to bend the space and time around it in order to get movement space.
That's a warp drive, mate.
You've
That's
got
not a
it.
rocket.
See, you've got it. They'd have
It's
to
not
warp.
a rocket, though. Warp drive is not a rocket.
No, but that's
talking about
a
rockets.
rocket wouldn't work in space. You'd have to have this warp.
Fire and brimstone, Spurs. Come on.
You understand this warp drive? Your vehicle would have to bend the space and time around it to move.
Oh, you don't understand warp drives, do you, Chemo?
But you're going too far down the path.
No, we're saying that rockets need atmosphere and wouldn't
It's
work
more
in
like
a
up the
vacuum.
path.
Look at it like this, right?
Is that for the piston to push off of?
No. Look at it like this. Oh, you're back. Why you come back? What made you come back?
Hey, fuck you too.
Welcome back. But what made you come back?
Chemo,
Why do
but
you
it's
think
you.
a rocket uses a piston?
My idea was to eliminate all the globe earthers. I was there saying, look, we've managed to eliminate all the spherical mathematics, and now here you are, bringing back spherical truth.
You didn't do a thing.
Your
Anyway.
goal is to eliminate all the
Welcome back.
opposition and deny
Yeah.
everything.
So the
You
idea is...
failed again, Spurs. You failed again.
No. How are you going to say... Let me make my point. My point that we take a rocket, whack it in space. Just put it, not move in, just put it in a position in space, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to laugh at this, but you got to work with me a little bit. This is just
I'm always laughing at it, mate.
It's a rudimentary explanation to show you how this wouldn't work. Take
It's
your
an
rocket,
experiment.
whack it anywhere in space, and then take a giant hoover, right? Like a suction thing. Put it at the back of the rocket. So turn the rocket
Did you
on.
say a tuva? Like
Turn-
a two for the price of one?
Turn the rocket on, right? Start the rocket and stuff, and then put a hoover behind the rocket and see if the rocket can
hoover.
move anywhere. Now you know the
You can't have a vacuum cleaner in a vacuum.
you know the principle
Oh,
of
no.
this, yeah?
Oh wait,
Oh,
Brian
no.
Mabbott did that in a video.
Yeah, but that's using air. It doesn't have a propellant.
No. I'm saying whatever's coming out of the back of the rocket, we put a hoover, a vacuum cleaner, behind
oh,
it,
Chemo.
and then the effect is that he won't be able to move by any thrust.
Are you expecting vacuum to attract vacuum?
See, I knew you wouldn't get it.
What, a Dyson or a Hoover? Which
A
type?
giant Dyson.
How hard does your Hoover have to suck, Chemo?
But
Not
look,
as hard as him.
listen, we're going to have a cable that goes all the way down to the Earth, into space. You have to work with me a little bit now. We've got a giant Dyson going into space. Going to plug it in down here. Just a normal Dyson, but the size of a rocket. Yeah?
What, only on a 10 amp plug?
Probably.
Or you can do that on Earth
probably
in the
need to
atmosphere with a jet
probably need to
engine.
increase it, yeah. So we've got to make sure it doesn't blow.
Ever to get that? A normal Dyson, but the size of a rocket.
Yeah, but we want to make sure it doesn't blow the fuse. Yeah. So whatever you guys
I
think
think
is
do the
the right
experiment,
fuse,
Chemo.
we'll just use that. The point
So
of
that's
like
all of
follow
this.
engine
scale.
What is the point of
Yeah, I
all of
wanna
this?
know-
The point is that we
Chemo.
put the.
Kimo, when are you going to do your experiment? You have a hypothesis now.
Oh no! We're just going through a thought experiment. Is that-
No. Fuck yeah, fuck
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Just a thought experiment. That if we
Yeah.
put the Dyson behind the rocket will not move. Now tell
Happen
me
if you
why.
put the Dyson.
The question is
But Chemo-
why wouldn't the rocket move if we put the suction?
No, you can do that on Earth with a jet engine.
No.
with a giant
In space. Tell me why in
Dyson.
space. Tell me why in space if we put a hoover behind the rocket, Why wouldn't it move? Tell me. Talk to me.
Oh, it would move.
No, tell me why
You're
it
saying
would
that
move.
it wouldn't.
How would it move? Yeah, how would it move?
In your
Because
thought
the-
experiment, does it require
Oh,
an
God.
independent variable? Sorry.
No, it's not science.
yeah,
We're
good.
just thinking about how a rocket.
It's not that, and it's not even science.
No, it's not science. It's just thought
It's not a
experiment.
thought experiment. It's
So we
just a
whack
thought.
we whack it in space in just any place. We whack the Hoover behind it. We start the rocket. Start the Hoover. Now, how can it move?
Are you saying that without the Hoover it would move?
Without the Hoover, you've still got the Hoover there, the vacuum of space.
What?
The Hoover's there
So why
just
do you
so
have
you
the Hoover there?
visualize what's happening behind the rocket.
Why do you need the Hoover there?
Just so you
In a
can
vacuum, sucking nothing.
visualize, because you guys have a hard time understanding that once the rocket is turned on or it starts, you've got this Hoover, more powerful than Dyson, behind it.
What would it suck?
What, a Henry Hoover, you mean?
No, it's not that it will suck, it's that the pressure from the rocket will go straight into the vacuum, straight away, whoop, and then it
Well,
will
there's
spread.
pressure coming from the. So there's pressure coming from the rocket, right?
Well, yeah, there's a container there, right? It's in a container.
Yeah. So it's pushing it forward. Thank you.
How? I've just said to you, you've got the vacuum.
Newton's
Oh my gosh. You've got the rocket, you've got the Hoover sucking in all that stuff. How can it
But if
move
there's
anywhere?
stuff coming from the rocket, there's a force exerted on one way.
What is it
So it'll
pressing
push
on?
the rocket the other way.
How can
Hey,
the rocket
Kimo.
move if what's coming out the back of the rocket is being sucked into the Hoover?
Kimo,
Hey.
I forgot. What was that law you told me? It was for every action there's a.
Only on here on Earth, not in space.
No, it's a universal law.
It's not universal, no.
It is, though.
No, you can't prove it. Prove that a rocket works in space then. Exactly. That's what we're
So-
talking about here.
It's
Kimo, you're
been
not gonna help
proven
me
many
out here?
times.
I can't remember what that law was. Will you remind me what the law was, Kimo?
What was the first part?
For every action there's a.
Equal and opposite reaction.
Okay.
Yeah? And that's only here on the Earth, in the atmosphere, on water, against the surface. In
Only
space,
on water.
there is no surface to give you that
Wait,
equal
Kimo,
and opposite
Kimo.
reaction.
You said this reaction now only works on water.
Ah.
If I punch,
Oh my
if I
gosh. Go on,
punch
remember it then. Go on,
the
remember
wa-
it. Go on, let's see what you got.
if I punch the wall,
Mhm.
it won't hurt because it's not water, right?
Yes, you're right.
So it can't put
win.
any force into my hand.
Yes, you're right. No, not just water. That's for a boat.
Then why'd you
Talking
say
about, I was
water?
going through
What does
water
water
for a
have to do with
boat.
it?
I was talking air for an air. This is why the flat earthers. Look, I'm a mod, and I don't even, take advantage of this situation. The flat earthers that come in here have no opportunity to stop this onslaught. Mippet wouldn't let me speak
Reason.
this morning. Okay.
What onslaught, Kimo? I'm asking you a very simple line of questioning that you're attempting to dodge. There's no onslaught here. I'm not getting upset. I'm not raising my voice. No one's yelling at you. No one's attempting to overtalk you.
Yeah, but what you did,
Now you're
I
just
said water, and then you ran with that when I was saying for something to push off something, you need water, the air, a surface, like the ground for a car, and then you ran with the air.
So,
No, you ran with water, sorry.
but that doesn't match with what you just said, because you said that for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction.
Yes, in
but
the water,
only when they're
on a road, in the air, yes. In space, no.
Isn't that logically
Excuse me?
inconsistent?
That's what we're
Hang
talking
on.
about
Did
here.
Kimo just say that there is not equal and opposite reactions in space? Have you seen two things collide in space before, Kimo?
No, never, ever, never, ever, never. Have you?
Oh dear.
Have you?
You need to get a telescope,
Have
mate.
you ever seen things collide in space?
I have actually.
Let's have a look. Well, that's what we're talking about.
Hang on.
Excellent, excellent.
What?
What we're talking about. Gives a look at
What, you
these
think
things
I've got? You
colliding
think I've
in
got video
space.
camera eyes?
What are you talking about? How do you know you weren't seeing things, dreaming, waking up, day walking, night walking, daydreaming, night dreaming? How do you know you weren't just seeing things, visual?
Do you know cameras take up pictures from reality or
Then
just
he saw
mental
things
images?
colliding in space. How on earth did you see something colliding in space, and what was it? And what gave it its acceleration to collide in the first place? Where did the acceleration come from
Hang
for it to
dude.
accelerate?
Chemo, how many questions do you want to ask?
Just so I don't have
What
to
was the
just
first question?
stop you as
I
you're
didn't even know what
talking.
the first question was.
Yeah, where did it come from? What caused the acceleration? What did you
That
see
wasn't the
colliding?
first question. That wasn't the first question.
All right, go start with the first point then. Go on.
No, your first question was show us a video. I never said I took footage of it.
Then I said, how do you know you're not delusional?
Well, I don't know. I talk to you a lot.
You don't know. So we can't take the word of a possible delusional guy who thinks he sees things colliding in space.
And you want us to take your word.
No, don't believe what we say.
That
Listen to
shuts
what
you
we
down
say. We don't have to
completely.
believe it. All you got to do is show us colliding bodies in space. Let's take a look. Exactly. That's what we're talking about here. So the idea that the equal and opposite reactions in space is false. That is misinformation, disinformation, and we will tell the next generation about the true information.
Kool-Aid. Mute.
Yes, sir.
You've
Oh,
got
sorry.
keyboard noises.
So, I mean, that's where we're at, really, is just ticking over time as we unravel the globe lie. And as you can see as an audience member, this is the elite of intellect for the globe. I surround myself with the guys who have the evidence, have the measurements. You can see that it's just a made-up story. No validation. Rockets.
Your claim that rockets don't work in a vacuum, yeah. No
How could
validation for the
they?
claim.
How could they? How is it possible? We've just been through. We take a giant vacuum put it behind the rocket, turn the vacuum on. What will happen to what's coming out of the rocket? Where will it get its opposite reaction? How? No surface to get its opposite reaction. How does that happen in space?
The fuel is coming out of the rocket.
Yeah, being
and that'll
sucked up
push
by the
rocket
vacuum.
forward.
That's right, being sucked up by the vacuum.
Yeah.
Now in the bag. Oh no, there's a
pushing the
hole
rocket
in the
forward.
bag, and it's just coming straight out the other end.
Basically, you're saying that if I
vacuum.
have a vacuum cleaner next to a nuclear bomb, there will be no explosion because you'll suck the pressure out.
No, we've got a vacuum within a vacuum within a vacuum within a vacuum.
And we see that in nature.
In
Where?
space, when you fire the rocket.
So in space, there's vacuum cleaners. Is the ISS actually a vacuum cleaner now?
Not the ISS, but
Sucking its
around
way
it,
forward.
stuff around it is lower pressure, high to low pressure. You know all that stuff.
Yes.
Exactly. This rocket it kicks out high pressure into a lower pressure region. What do you think is going to happen? Exactly. These gases will fill this space instantaneously.
Oh, what is pressure?
Pressure, goodness sakes, we've been through all this. It's when you've got a surface
Exerted
area.
to the walls of the container, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's
What if you take
every
one
single
wall
day.
out? Kimo, if you take one wall out of a cube,
One wall
you don't
out
have
of-
force pressing. Yeah, you don't have force pressing on that wall anymore, right?
Well, water will press on the walls, yeah?
But I said one wall out of your cube.
Yeah, you
You
take
have
one
a
wall
cube
out,
of
then the
pressure.
water will press on the
No,
remaining.
not water, just gas.
Gas, gas will fill the space, yeah? What about it?
Yeah, okay, so there's force exerted to all the other walls except that one that you took off, right?
How are you going to measure the pressure?
What do you mean, how do I measure the pressure? There's pressure in the box.
With the lid open,
You do a small hole there,
You said you took one side off.
Yeah, one of the smaller sides.
And now it's a hole.
Yeah, there's a hole.
Make your mind up. Is it a hole or one side?
It's a hole.
So it's an open system.
Yeah, it's an open system. So there's force exerted to all the other walls except for the one wall, right?
There's forces with the gas. Gas will seek equilibrium, right? Fill the space. But you're talking about pressure. That can only happen in a container. Gas pressure.
What do you mean gas seeks equilibrium?
So the gas moves in all directions, and depending on its density, it will find its layer. So, for example, helium will not find its relative density or equilibrium here in the atmosphere.
Where would it find it then?
No, it's going to seek.
Does that mean there is no helium in our atmosphere?
There's helium, but it's seeking its relative layer.
What do you mean with relative layer?
Well, it depends on what the medium it's in. Obviously, there's another. Well, we don't know that for sure. We can speculate. There'll be another medium above helium, which is lighter.
Is CO2 is CO2 more heavy than air?
Is CO2 more heavy than air? Heavy? What do you mean? Have you weighed it?
More dense, let's say.
Have you weighed? Have you done an experiment to know these things?
Yeah, CO2 gathers on the lower levels of your Earth, right?
I'm asking you. What do you know about it?
Yeah,
I haven't made that claim. You're making that claim. What do you know about it? What have you researched?
I have read about it on the internet, that it's more, you'd say, more dense than air, even though, doesn't the density depends on the volume and the mass, not just the mass, but why don't we have a layer of CO2 on the Earth? Because that's heavier than air.
Because rockets don't work in space.
So that's why we have, okay. That's interesting.
If we knew how to make an equal and opposite reaction in space, we'd have more answers.
Why can't we?
Well, first of all, space doesn't exist. And then, obviously, if it did exist, it would have nothing for the rocket to push off.
It's not equal and opposite reaction, then.
Yeah, no equal and opposite reaction. No surface in space for that opposite.
You don't have a surface on an airplane to push against.
No, a rocket.
Yeah, but a jet engine in the atmosphere, there's no surface for the jet engine to push against.
Got the atmosphere.
There's no
Jet
walls.
engine won't work in space, will it?
What's the question? No, what was the question?
Will this jet engine work in space?
No.
Why?
Because it uses air to move. It's not a rocket.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not a rocket.
Go. So you need same
Rocket
as a
works
rocket.
in a
The rocket
vacuum,
needs the
but
air.
the jet engine doesn't.
Yeah, but you can't show a rocket flying around in a vacuum or space.
Well, we can, but you deny it, so.
Well, your edited cut version, when it gets up to a certain height, it cuts because it can't go any higher. We know that, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the Black Swan video when it cuts, so it's a bullshit video.
Black Swan
USA
is
doesn't
any
exist.
horizon in the world.
Yeah, but there's no live video of the horizon, Chemo.
Yeah, any horizon, any picture, any observation of the horizon is not physical.
Oh, so we can use pictures as evidence.
Yeah, but you can't use it as geometric.
Yeah, but we can just check pictures from space, right? Like Himawari.
Can look at those pictures, but then you have to explain how do you have a vacuum without a container?
Why do I have gas pressure next to gas pressure without a container? Well, that's what we observed.
No, I said a vacuum without a container, or gas pressure without a container. How do you have
What do you say, vacuum? Kimo?
what?
Are you saying the vacuum is zero pressure?
How do you have low pressure without a container?
No pressure without a container. We have pressure here. There's no container.
So where does the pressure come from?
The collision of the molecules. But you know, space isn't zero
Collision
pressure.
of the molecules. Where does the acceleration come from?
Acceleration? The initial acceleration?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, I know that we have pressure, but I don't know where
Don't know where it comes from, no?
Where the pressure or the motion came from.
Ah. How do you know it's pressure then?
Huh?
How do you know there is
I know.
pressure?
Because I can measure it, and we call
How did you measure
the
it?
pressure is the definition.
How did you measure it?
With a barometer or with a pressure gauge.
In space?
Oh, I haven't measured it in space. Some other people have.
What people? What people?
People who've been to space and sent stuff to space.
Yeah, who are they?
There's a lot of space agencies all around the world.
Just other space agencies around the world. How can you verify that?
Verify. What do you mean with verify? Like going myself?
That they went to space?
Yeah, I can buy a ticket to space, but
You
I
watch
mean, I
them
don't
go
have
to
the
space.
funds.
You watch them go to space.
Yeah, I've seen footage of rockets going to space, yeah.
Here's a look.
Yep, just a second.
Sure. No worries. We're just waiting for evidence of rockets going to space, audience. Patient. Things do take time. We've been waiting 6 months for BioDual to present the world with... we have the video.
I'm just gonna keep posting these and you can talk.
Yeah, I'm looking now. I'm going to take a look right now. I'm going to hand wave dismiss. I mean, who does that?
You do it all the time.
No, we're going to take a look at this right now.
Oh, did you just lie?
If it ever loads. Okay, it's ready now. So we see snow. Looks
Ladies
like
and
snow's
gentlemen,
going up,
I'd like to present
up,
to you
up.
Chemo lying again.
No, we're watching it right now. Lots of smoke. Okay, we see the Earth as it goes up.
We don't need
So
a
it's not in space
play-by-play
yet then.
read
So
by
what
you.
timestamp is space? It's not space. This
Just
is
go
the
and
Earth.
watch it. Just go and watch it.
I am watching it. I see lots of water on the
Right,
camera.
shut up then.
I'm asking in which part is space? What's
Another one that I
timestamp?
posted. I posted another one.
No,
and
I'm
it'll
looking at the
go
one
at
that you sent
220
already. We
kilometers.
see clouds now.
Yep.
Fire burning in the air, which is normal. This is all normal. Nothing special here.
Oh
What's the
man,
big deal?
you know what he's doing here. He's just going to
Yeah,
deflect
of course,
it.
yeah.
So
just
this
move the
video is
goalpost,
there's nothing untowards here. Normal aircraft going up in the sky. What's the big deal?
Why doesn't this
They're going
aircraft
into
have any
space.
wings on it?
No, it's just
Yeah.
it's got a rocket, but it's got loads of fire behind it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a rocket engine, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So
it's in the
it's not
atmosphere. So what?
rocket, right?
What's the problem? It's in the now it's turning down, turning away, as we expect. Yes, this is normal. Turn. And
Yeah, at the
1 minute
altitude of over
14,
100
1 minute
kilometers,
15,
so
turn.
it's in space.
We expect
It's in
that.
space.
We expect him to turn, which he did, because any higher, then he'll run out of atmosphere. We expect that. This is normal. Turn.
Chemo,
Okay,
do you
what's
know?
the problem
Do you
here?
know that at that point they've already passed the Kármán line?
No,
and they're
it's still in
technically
the
space,
atmosphere. There's
dude.
still fire, still burning.
Chemo.
130,
There's oxidizer in the
140,
Chemo, there's
140
oxidizer.
seconds.
Chemo, I know you can't handle it, but there's
I'm
oxidizer in
watching
the
it. I'm
fuel, so
saying
it'll
I can
burn
see
in a
now.
vacuum.
It's turning as it should.
It'll burn in a vacuum. Yes, as it
He
should,
didn't
with
watch
oxidizer in the
Okay,
fuel.
those things are
Yeah,
falling
he's
off
not
the
even
back of
watching.
it now. They're
Yeah.
falling back to Earth. That's normal. Now it's leveling
while
up. It's going level with the flat Earth as we expect. Turning level.
While Chemo carries on like a pork chop,
I'm saying as we're watching it now, we can see it leveling off with the flat Earth.
The point at which it hit the Kármán line.
No, it's still in the atmosphere now at this point. Where is space?
What? It passed the Kármán line at a minute 10.
So you're saying there's no air at this height? I thought the air went all the way to the moon.
There is some air.
I thought it went to the moon. There is some air. I thought the atmosphere went to the moon.
But it's in space. Space starts at the altitude of 100 kilometers.
But there's no atmosphere here now. At 1 minute,
air.
2 minutes, 35 seconds. Yeah, this is what we expect on a flat Earth, for him to turn off and level off. Normal.
So Chemo, if you're going 7,000 kilometers a second, how long does it take to travel 100 kilometers?
But what we're saying here, we're looking for him going into space. See?
They went to space.
No, they are going.
They're over 100 kilometers in altitude. That is the definition of where the space starts.
No, they're in low Earth, and we can see that right now.
Low Earth orbit, yes.
Why did he go straight up?
Yeah.
Why didn't he go straight up?
Chemo.
Because it's going into an orbit.
Chemo.
Below the Kármán line. We're not going to see that, are we?
Wait,
Chemo, if you want something going straight up, there's the second video of an amateur rocket going into 120 kilometers. That's straight up, so you can watch that if you want it straight up.
Here, what we see now is normal, because, like I say,
it's going into orbit.
Oh, there's your cut. No. Go to. I was waiting for that cut. Go to.
Oh, see? He wasn't even concentrating on the video. He was waiting for a glitch in the video.
Yes. No, we found it.
You lying piece of shit.
Exposed.
You're now going to hand wave
exposed,
He's never going to post because there's a cut in every video.
Go to 3 minutes 30 or 28, I think that is. 3 minutes 28. 3 minutes 27 seconds.
So they cut the video
when they were in space. And now anything after that is CGI. Okay?
Yeah, okay, Chemo. Okay, rewind it to about 1 minute 15 seconds.
1 minute. No, we're going to check out the 3 minute one first.
We're going to use your level of where it cuts. I'm not going to watch anymore.
No. From that part, all that is fake. But anything before that cut is just what we expect on a flat Earth. They go up, they level off.
Oh, so it made it to space. Good job. Thank you very much.
No, they go up.
12, a minute 13.
No,
it enters space.
No, they go up, they turn off, and they level up, and then they come back down. This is why they cut.
What are they level? What are
because
they?
That rocket was coming back down as we predicted.
Hang on. What's it leveling off to?
The flat Earth.
What?
So it goes straight up, it turns at an angle, and then levels off over the Earth. Flat, straight. And then when it cut, because at that point then, it was about to fall back down to the ground. So they have to cut the camera, go to 3 minutes 27 seconds, start from there. This is where they cut the camera, and
anytime a video
they know that the real rocket... The real rocket is falling back down to the ground because it cannot go any higher. There you go, bang. 27, 3 minutes, 28, 26, 27. It's there for you all to see. Next video, let's take a look at the next one.
Chemo,
I'll take a look at the next one. It's going straight up to 120 kilometers in altitude, so that's space.
Alright, GoPro.
20 kilometers over the space.
Let's not hand wave dismiss. Let's look at your evidence. Let's see what you've got to offer. Okay.
Chemo.
Yes.
The moment a rocket is past 100 kilometers, it is in outer space. By definition.
No. What happened
Chemo,
there?
by definition, the boundary layer for space is 100 kilometers. Actually, it's about 90, but we'll give you 100.
No, this is what we expect.
Because that's where winged aircraft can no longer fly.
So look, Mole Man.
Chemo, this is what we expect, yeah.
Yeah, we expect it to hit the dome, stop, and fall back down. That's what we expect.
And it's at 7,000 kilometers per second.
Yeah, we expect. Look, it stopped at 1 minute. 1 minute exactly. 1 minute 1 second. It stops, hits the dome, and then obviously that other rocket at that point would have fouled down. Look, it stops, slows down, spinning around. We can see that here on the big screen. Cuts the camera, as we expect.
120 kilometers. That is in space. Thank you, Chemo.
The most crucial point, they cut the footage as we predicted. We predicted this.
Thank you.
We
No,
predict.
you didn't.
Yeah,
You didn't.
We predict they have to
No.
cut the camera
Oh,
either
Kimo,
when they
so you
reach.
predicted.
Lied
So you
again.
predicted that the rocket will go to space and then the
No,
video will come.
no.
Okay,
I've
thank
analysed
you.
both videos now. There's no hand wave dismissing. Your first
Kimo,
video,
There isn't.
cut the camera when it was falling back down, and your second
When it
video
was in
hit the
space
dome
in the orbit.
and then
Yeah.
cut the camera when it hit the dome.
Where's the
Kimo.
dome in the video? Can you point to the? Give me
Oh,
a
hang on.
timestamp
Well,
of the dome. when
unfortunately,
you see
they've
the
got
dome.
the camera facing the wrong way.
No, man. One of them went
Yeah.
through the dome and the other one didn't. How's that work?
Yeah, yeah. An ISS is way far over the dome, because Kimo accepts that it's in the altitude of 400 kilometers. You've said that. So
Yeah, and this
Something-
one got
Where's
this
the
one.
dome? Where's the dome then?
This rocket
If
is
it's at
lighter and
120,
faster
That's
than that
another
bigger
dome.
rocket.
what?
Hang on,
Kimo?
Kimo, you just said the dome's at 120 kilometers.
This rocket
Yet
got there
you've
quicker
agreed that
because
the
it's
ISS is
lighter.
at 400.
The other one's like a big bus. This is like a sports car. Got there a
Kimo,
lot quicker.
You have. Are you in cognitive dissonance now? You said that the rocket hits the dome at 120 kilometers, and earlier you've said that the ISS is at the altitude of 400 kilometers, and
No,
the
you don't know the
Operation
height.
Fishbowl.
You don't know the height of this rocket.
We told you the height
Ah.
of that rocket.
Yeah,
No, you don't know the height there. Did you measure it?
But you even said it.
Did you,
You
Kimo?
said, look,
Did
it
you?
gets to 120, hits the dome, comes back down. Oh,
Right.
look at that. They
Yeah.
cut the feed as it hit the dome. At
Yeah, but you got to
150
remember,
kilometers.
use your brain. Use your brain. There's an arc
Should do
in
it.
the dome, so there's going to be higher in some places and lower in other places. Use your brain, guys. Think about it. Exactly.
So Kimo,
Mhm.
have you measured the altitude of the bombs in the Operation Fishbowl?
No.
Oh, okay, good. So that you can't use that as evidence anymore
Why?
because you haven't done measurements on it.
What, it didn't happen then?
Well, ISS didn't happen. Moon landings didn't happen.
That's right. You got catching on quick.
Yeah, okay. So you can't use Operation Fishbowl or anything
What, didn't
anymore
it
as
happen?
evidence of anything.
Didn't it happen?
Hmm?
You doubt it?
Show me. Show us the video. Give us the timestamp.
What, you doubt Operation Fishbowl?
Give us the timestamp.
Before I give you the timestamp, do you doubt Operation Fishbowl?
If it comes from you and you said that there's a dome at 100 kilometers in altitude, then Operation Fishbowl couldn't have happened.
So you doubt Operation Fishbowl?
No, you doubt it.
No, do you doubt it?
I don't doubt it.
Ah,
I
there's nothing
accept
to worry
it
about.
fully. You don't, but I accept
Nothing
it
to
fully.
worry
But
about
do you
then.
have a
You
timestamp?
don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. There's no problems.
Oh, okay. Okay, do you doubt space?
What is space?
A low pressure area.
How do you know that?
Because of NASA.
Because of NASA? What did NASA say?
They say that there's space there.
Let's have a look.
A
When did
low
they say
pressure
that? Show me
area.
where they said that. When did NASA say this?
Yeah, I will get you some documents.
Go on then. Let's have a look. So at the moment, currently
While
we're just
you-
waiting for...
Hey, while he's pulling that up, Kimo, will you define space for us?
Space. Nobody really knows what it is. No one's ever been to there. Been there, to that place.
That's not what I didn't ask if we'd been there. I asked if you could define the word.
No, nobody knows what it is.
Word.
That's what I've been asking.
So
What?
you're asking for
What the
something
definition of
you don't
space is? Yeah,
understand.
what is space? Like, what's going on with this space thing? A place that doesn't exist. What is the definition of this place? Some people said it's your wardrobe, a car park, place in the garden. And I said, do you wear your spacesuit in those spaces? And they all went quiet. But, in all seriousness, what is space? We've been asking this very question. We've heard low pressure, all this kind of stuff. We want to know how you know all this stuff, right? Exactly. Right. Space. We want to know how you know these things. Are you just making things up? Are you deluded? If you are, you need to know, like for your own personal sanity, right? And if you're telling the truth about the globe, you should be able to demonstrate it relatively. Yes, but you're not doing so. giving us just so stories. Yes. And when we check out your stories, well, you know, find that they're not true. They're made up. Exactly that. Just made up. That's why we're seeing very, very few globe earthers challenging the flat earthers, because our position is exceedingly strong. Like,
when you're monologue, I'd like to ask you a question.
oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So, do you disagree with the definition of word space? That is a region beyond Earth's atmosphere?
Beyond Earth.
Good morning.
Hey, Don. What's going on? Ding Don.
Hi.
I posted the Apollo 12 telemetry data for you, so there's evidence of...
No. Where did NASA say? Show me an employee that says what you said. You could have wrote that yourself, quickly. Don't be silly,
I could have wrote
man.
Apollo 12, so I could have
You
wrote
could have
myself
done it quickly in the time you could be a computer
310
programmer,
pages
for all I
of
know.
telemetry data.
For all I know, you could be a computer
Okay.
programmer.
Okay, so Kimo,
Okay.
you could easily have written yourself the Operation Fishbowl evidence.
Written in my voice? It's not written. It is written down, but there's also footage. Okay? Where is your footage?
Give us a timestamp.
What, are you doubting there's footage of Operation Fishbowl?
You know that there's footage of Apollo 12?
No. Apollo 12 is in a Hollywood studio.
Oh, it's like Operation Fishbowl. Okay.
Operation what? They set up a studio and sent bombs up in a studio? What do you mean?
It can't be faked. Have you seen Independence Day?
So you doubt Operation Fishbowl?
I doubt it as much as Apollo 12 mission, yeah.
Good. Talking about none of these things have any evidence that we didn't.
I have no evidence of Operation Fishbowl. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't. We just got a story from the military. You either believe it or you don't. I happen
So you
to
don't.
believe
So you
that.
don't accept it. Why do you
No.
believe that?
I believe that because back then they were, in my mind, they were trying to really figure out where we live, and they didn't have the technology to actually do that stuff. So when they had that stuff, they did everything they can to figure out, you know, how high the dome is, how big the wall is.
That's what they did. The Apollo 12 did that to figure out where we live. So they went to the moon and
But
did
how
some
did they get through
measurements.
the Van Allen belt?
How did they get through the Van Allen belt? They went through it.
What kind of shielding did they use?
What kind of shielding did they had to use? Do you know that?
Same one that they have to use now to get through it today.
What is Van Allen
They're
belts?
trying to build something
What
to
are
get
those
through.
belts, Kimo?
What?
What do you mean with Van Allen belts?
So Don Petit says we don't have the technology to go back to the. So the technology they had then to
Okay.
get through the Van Allen, what did they use? I'm asking you.
What did you say that he said?
I'm going to get it for you
That
now.
we don't have
I'm gonna get it
technology.
now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yep. Jasa asks why he's still muted. No, he's banned. Jasa.
This is not.
He sent me a message that he is banned.
He is banned.
Unban the man.
Yeah, I can unban the man.
All he has to do is he's join. Anyway, here's the guy from NASA. Okay, from
Yeah.
NASA. Not just a
Okay.
document.
Kimo.
Not just written
Kimo.
down.
I hope. Kimo, wait. I
No,
hope he says
no,
what
you
you
should get
said.
it, you
That
should
we
get
don't
it.
have. No,
Get
Kimo,
it, you should
wait.
get it. Here it is. So he says we don't have the technology to go back to the moon. It's a painful process putting it back together. So I'm asking you, what technology did they use to get through Van Allen belt back then?
Old
They used
technology.
technology that wasn't based on modern transistor and transistor density chemo because it was done in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
So what was that
What's your next
shielding
question?
they used, Mole Man?
Just ignore that point, I guess.
Hold on, Dross, we'll get to you. Moleman is making
Dross,
wild,
Dross,
outrageous
Dross,
claims.
Dross can continue. I'm going to the store, so I can't speak.
Ah, you see, that's how we eviscerate and annihilate the opposition.
You didn't eviscerate. I have things to do. I'll be back later,
I'm sure you
though.
do. But if you were winning the argument, you'd be hanging around all day long. So there's the argument.
Let's say, Kimo, let's say that I have a tea time.
So they're not talking about radiation shielding, Chemo, when it comes to the old missions. That wasn't the issue. The modern issue is the fact that we have much more sensitive electronics because the density of stuff is much greater than it was then. And that
what I want to know is what was
testing.
the shielding they used to go through the Van Allen belt?
Well, what do you think? What type of radiation do you think's in the Van Allen
I
belt?
don't know about the radiation. I'm talking about the shielding.
So most of it is alpha and beta, which will be stopped by fairly.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the shielding.
Yeah, tin foil, literally.
Tin foil.
Yeah, that'll be some of it. They'll probably have some slightly denser material sitting behind
like
that.
What?
I can go and find out if you want.
Yeah.
But,
what do they use?
I mean, the thing is, wait 1 second, Chemo. Well, hold on. You've had this discussion many times with Jem. Why are we going back through it?
About what?
About the shielding on the Apollo missions. He went through that in detail.
What did he say?
And sorry, no, he did. He pulled up full schematics.
What did he say?
He pulled up full schematics, Chemo. I'm just asking you.
I don't remember. I don't know.
Wait, once. Okay, I can't speak. You want to funny mute me? Carry on, because I can't get a point out.
And I'm answering your question. I don't know.
And in fact, I can't even get this point out, saying that you're over talking me because you're over talking me.
Well, I'm saying you ask me a question, I answer it.
Kimo posted an article. Go read it and shut your trap.
Why aren't the Van Allen belts a barrier? No, that's false. That's disinformation there, Rocket. Misinformation.
How have you come to that determination, Chemo? Where is your evidence for that? Why
Way to go. He read
that?
the title and he dismissed everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is the level of flat Earth study that's done. No, disagree. So we'll hand wave it away. We'll call it false. We'll poison the well, and we won't provide any evidence to demonstrate that what we're saying is true. And when you're a known liar, Chemo, nobody fucking believes you.
Well, we know that they've been through the Van Allen belts in 1969, but for some strange reason they can't get through the Van Allen /firmament /dome today. Why is that?
I just explained that to you, Chemo. Did you not listen?
No, you went off into a tangent.
No, I talked about transistor density, didn't I?
Want to know
and
about
how
the
our
shielding.
electronics are more sensitive.
Want to know about the shielding?
You don't need to talk about it anymore. Kimo said that we know that in 1969 we went through the belt, so there is no dome or.
Yeah, how on earth did they get through them then, but not now?
No, you said that they got through, so it's pointless to argue about what they're doing now. I mean, we've done it already.
How did they get through it?
You said that they went through, so I mean, you tell me.
That's what we were told, but we're asking how.
No, you said that we did it.
That's what you said, Chemo. You affirmed.
I said we live on a ball, spinning, flying through space.
We heard
Where's the evidence for it?
You. So why do you affirm that they went through the Van Allen belt, Chemo?
Because that's what we were told.
So, but you're affirming it. You say we did it.
Yeah,
it wasn't like I was told stories
We went to the moon in 1969 many times, but today cannot go through with that shielding. Why not?
And that's been explained to you twice now, Chemo, but you didn't bother listening.
No, you spoke about the radiation. I'm talking about the shielding.
Yeah, I was talking about the components inside, and you ignored that point.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
that's the reason why they've got the engineering challenge.
That's lies.
Well, you claim that, but you've got no evidence to prove it. I can provide documentary saying that you're wrong again, Chemo.
Hold on. Your claim is that they can't go to the moon because, again, say why?
There is a concern, and this is what they've been doing for about the last 5 to 10 years, including companies like Hewlett-Packard, is the concern is because the density in our electronics is thousands of times higher than it was.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Moore's Law?
No.
Of course not.
Of course not. So the radiation effect on that equipment is much more severe because everything is closer together.
So I just want to know the point. The point is it can't go through because the instruments will be affected, yeah?
No, there is a concern, a risk factor. Do you understand the risk factor?
What is the risk?
Do you understand the difference between a risk and we can't?
No, what is the risk?
Okay,
the point is,
great.
Spurs, you don't get it, you won't get it.
Yeah.
But it's just not me trying. I can still
if
try
I have to
to
explain
get
the difference between a risk and you can't,
what is the
then
risk?
You need to go and learn some English. No, you asked me what the difference was between a risk and a can't, and I can't believe you asked that question, Chemo.
Well, you're bringing these things up. What is the difference?
I'm
these things up.
Yeah.
Two words, simple words.
Yeah, I really think you need to go back and actually look at
are you sending me
what's
away?
being said so you can articulate your
Are you
argument.
sending me away? We having a discussion.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to get a point out without
Okay.
you fucking over talking me like a rude
Okay,
cunt.
so let's stay on point then.
So I'd
Talking
like
about-
to finish my point, Chemo.
Go on then.
Actually, no, I won't bother. I'll
Okay,
just go
so
back
the
on
point
you,
is that we're trying
and
to
you
figure-
can you can
just said you're not
bloviate,
gonna, so
and
why
you
are you
can't even
continuing?
let me finish this point without.
Because you
over
just
talking
said I'm
me.
not going to carry on.
Yeah, and I hadn't
Go on,
finished
Jezza.
talking, Chemo.
But you just said I'm not going to carry on, then carry on. So what are you
But
doing?
you do this to
contradicting yourself.
everybody all the time, and yet when anybody tries to do
Yeah, you're
anything, and you
contradicting
think, oh no,
yourself
they
now.
just slightly overtalk someone, I'll fucking
You
mute
just said I'm not
them.
going to carry
you've
on,
done
and then
that
you
to me
carry on.
so many times it's untrue, so stop doing this, Chemo.
Why did you
You're
lie?
being fucking rude.
Why did you lie?
Lie. When did he lie?
He's not going to carry on, and then he carried on.
Yeah, he isn't going to carry on with this topic
Well,
with you,
he said not
and then
gonna
he
carry
was
on,
just
then he carried
talking
on
to
on that
others on
topic.
the room.
Same topic.
He was talking to others in the room.
No, he was
I
making
got
the same
unmuted
point
by
about the
Chemo
same
yet.
topic. And again, he carries on.
Did you
He's
kick
not
him,
talking
Spurs?
to you.
Well, if he's not talking to me, then he's interrupting the discussion that me and you are having about the radiation and how the shielding was able
No,
to get
we
through.
weren't having the discussion. You had it with Dross. So,
Weren't you going up the shops, small man?
yep, I just came back. Just needed some cat food and cold coffee. It's fucking
Oh, do you live in the shop?
20 28 degrees Celsius. It's hot.
Okay, let's try again. What's the reason why we can't go back through the Van Allen belt?
Maybe Jessa can explain that to you. Can you do that, Jessa?
Would be good.
Gaza doesn't know.
I know.
Jessa.
No, we can.
If Jessa doesn't know, he'll tell you anyway.
We've destroyed the technology, and it's a painful process to rebuild it.
That's right.
That's not what he's
building
talking
a-
about.
It's
That's
like
not what he's
building a
talking
model.
about.
It's like building a Model T4 today or sending a fax to someone. I mean, I can't fax Chemo anything. We've destroyed the technology.
I can't send a fucking fax to anyone. The
I
technology is
can't. I don't
destroyed.
have a machine.
Exactly. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Right, Jazza, what do you know about rockets?
What do I know about rockets?
Doesn't sound like a response to your point, though, Jazza. Sound like another question.
Jazza, let's
Yeah,
talk about rockets and space. What we've been doing is completely blowing
Jump the
the
topic.
globe Earthers
I
out
hope he
of the
mutes
water.
himself because he changed the topic right now from radiation to rockets. I hope he mutes himself.
No, how on earth do these rockets
No,
go
because
through
I
the
run the
radiation?
show.
Duh. That's the question. Where's the shielding for these rockets to go through the radiation? Duh.
Do you know, okay, duh. Do you know how fast a rocket's going?
No.
Do you know how
I
fast?
don't know anything. You guys are going to tell me everything about rockets and space.
Okay, so in comparison to the
Sure,
distance
Kimo, you don't
of
know
the
anything.
I don't
radiation
claim to know
belt
anything.
that
We're
they're
just
going
simple
through,
guys
they're not
leading
going
the
through
new
it.
school. Because
Holy
we figured out-
Testicle Tuesday. Jesus Christ.
Spurs, how can Jessa tell you anything if you keep talking, mate? Let Jessa tell you what he needs to tell you. You keep asking him to tell
Fair
you something,
dinkum, fair
and then you talk
dinkum.
over him when he's
Fair
trying to tell you.
dinkum, fair
So just let him
dinkum.
tell you. Go ahead, Jessa.
Do you know the distance that this radiation belt is?
No.
Okay, that's cool. So if it's 100 meters, you could walk through it. You could walk through it within a couple of minutes. If it's 100 meters wide, you could walk through the distance of that radiation belt, right?
Nice to know.
And casually stroll through the park.
Okay.
It wouldn't hurt you. It wouldn't hurt you. Now, if you're going to go 234,000 miles to the moon in 6 days, right? Now, let's say that whole radiation belt was over that 234,000 miles, which it's not. It's a very, very small portion of that. I don't know. I haven't been out there with a measuring tape to fucking measure it, because that's just fucking insane to think that one could do that. But you guys do.
Rocket,
anyway,
shielding.
carry on. Hang on. Calm down. So what I'm saying is that the distance that radiation belt exists takes us a very, very short amount of time. I believe, I could be wrong, I don't know, I wasn't there. I didn't throw some fucking food colouring out as the Apollo 17 went through the radiation belt to colour it red as we went through it to measure it. But I'm pretty sure it was less than at least a couple of hours that we went through that, because we go that fucking quick.
Wake up, Jazza. Wakey.
Hey, Jezza, you can't fall asleep halfway through your explanation,
I know.
man.
You're
Come
boring
on.
yourself, Jazza. Oh my god.
I'm
Sending
just
yourself to
boring
sleep,
myself with
Jazza.
having to fucking explain this basic bit shit. Seriously.
You're like, oh. What was I saying again? Look, Jazza, let's keep it
Sounding
simple.
like lemon.
Rockets, radiation, shielding. Put them together. Make it work.
Right, so do you want to know how rockets... Okay, let's go back. Do you want to know how rockets work in a vacuum?
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously you don't understand that.
No.
Okay, so you know how a balloon
Yep.
operates in our atmosphere.
Okay.
I'm sorry to say sphere at the end of atmos,
Go on,
because
we can allow it. It's okay. Don't worry.
QED go fucking all ape shit about that. Because it's not a necessary understanding. Fucking dumb cunt.
Let's forego the niceties and just get to the point, shall we?
Okay, so how a rocket works in a vacuum is it an aeroplane with a propeller is moving the atmosphere to propel it through it. A jet engine is sucking in the atmosphere to propel it through it. A rocket in a vacuum is burning gas in a chamber. That gas is expanding and pushing on the front of that chamber and pushing the rocket through the vacuum of space.
Well, what's the surface area? What are you talking about here?
Oh my god. There's a combustion chamber?
They're all connected to one another, yeah?
No.
This is a push force he's talking about, Spurs. A push force.
Yeah, but what is it pushing it off?
There's a combustion chamber, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the rocket takes up its own.
Yes. The rocket.
Okay. The rocket, right?
I did something similar by mistake, but go on.
The rocket takes up its own fuel, its own oxidizer, its own propellant, its own air, essentially.
Yep.
To create combustion. There's a tank, a container. You guys love containers.
That's right.
You have to have a container.
That's true. Yes.
Well, you don't.
Well,
you do in a rocket engine. You don't in the atmosphere, but that's another thing. Anyway,
does anything come out of the back of the rocket?
With it, yes, thrust.
That stuff that comes out the back of the rocket, what do you think will happen in a vacuum?
That's why you. Oh my god. No, let's just Jesus fucking Christ. Let's just carry on with the start. Okay.
I want to understand.
We're still. Hang on.
Look.
Hang on. No.
Look,
we need to stay at the start. We need to stay at the start. you've got a chamber, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a teeny tiny little hole at the end of it.
For fuck's sakes, it's not a teeny tiny hole, Jazzer. For fuck's sakes.
Yes, it is a teeny tiny hole in Jazz's world. In Jazz's world, it's teeny tiny hole. Go ahead, Jazzer. Teeny tiny hole.
But for the principle of trying to explain it to...
Jazz's rocket has a teeny tiny hole. So let it be.
This is where the Bernoulli's principle and shit like that comes into effect. Okay, so you've got your oxidizer.
Still got a lot of thrust. Teeny tiny hole, but a lot of thrust.
Yes, so you've got a chamber and you've got a teeny tiny little hole. You've ignited all that gas. That gas is expanding rapidly, and it has to go out that tiny little hole, right, the nozzle of the rocket engine.
Yeah.
So the amazing thing about the Bernoulli's principle is that the rate of that gas expanding.
I'm confused. Listen. Before anything expels out the rocket, can the rocket move? Before anything expels out of the rocket, does the rocket move?
On a ballistic trajectory, you can fire something into a vacuum just like you can fire...
Listen to what I'm asking, Jazz. Listen to what I'm saying. You got the rocket
Jazz, you got to listen to his question, Jazz.
The rocket is suspended in space. Okay? So before, listen to what I'm saying, Jazz. Before anything comes out of the back of the rocket, does the rocket start to move?
Are you asking how did the rocket get there to begin with?
No, I said before anything comes out the back of the rocket, does the rocket start to move before the exhaust or whatever comes out the back?
You get it? The rocket's sitting suspended in space, not moving, right? And then he's asking, is the rocket moving before anything comes out the back of it?
Yes. So before we see anything get spun out the back, will the rocket start moving on its own?
In space,
I think
sitting in space, not moving.
I think I get what you're trying to say, and yes, within very small proportions, it will be moving very, very slightly. That RCS thrusters or reaction control system will take care of that.
Scenario, mate. Jazz, sorry to butt in. That's not the scenario. He's saying the rocket is sitting in space, not moving at all. Now he's asking, will the rocket be moving before anything comes out the back of it?
But that's what the RCS is.
But it makes the rocket move before something comes out the back, yeah?
No, moving relative to what?
Fuck nuts.
RCS is reaction control, so that controls the attitude, not the actual thrust of the rocket.
Yeah, I don't think this thing can push its own sails internally. I mean, maybe it can, but
the answer to your question is no. The rocket will not move until something gets expelled out the back.
No.
Now things can.
No. This is Jazz's rocket, not moving, and Jazz's rocket moves before something comes out the back. It has a small hole. Continue, Jazz.
No, Jazz has got a magic rocket, so that's fine.
No, not a magic rocket. This is Jazz's rocket, and this is how it works.
That's why I mentioned the RCS.
Exactly.
That's what the
RCS does. Listen to rocket scientist. You're the expert here. Carry on. Don't let him sway you with his opinion, right?
No, Jazz, go on. This is just hilarious.
Emo, you're on fire today, man.
Well, I mean, we're just trying to find out how rockets work, and they move.
You're not going to find out shit, Chemo.
You can't have fire
internal things can't make you travel forward, can they?
Yes, they can. That's how the rocket works. That's what Jazz just said. Before something comes out the back, the rocket starts to move.
All
right, relative to what?
All right, dude.
When they're finished, ask them how they steer it.
If relative to it not moving.
RCS, we just said that. Whoever just said about the about what I just said about the having a canister, do me a favour. Actually, don't do it. Do it when you're by yourself. Make sure there's no kids around. Set a bonfire and put an LPG canister, an LPG bottle on the bonfire. Stand fucking a couple 100 meters back and see what happens.
Focus. Rocket. In space.
I don't want you to do that. But
focus,
is it going to move before it's ruptured?
Watch the watch.
But you just
watch.
made a rocket.
Watch the watch, Jazza. Rocket in space.
You just made a rocket.
Starts to move.
But doesn't move before it blows up.
No. Jazza says it moves before something comes out the back.
Oh, incorrect, by the way.
But Jazza, if that's the case, okay.
Moving relative to what?
Well, Jazza, what do you mean relative to what?
All movement is relative.
Relative to
it not moving.
No, not moving relative to what?
To not moving, duh.
Well, everything's
itself.
moving.
To itself
Everything's
not
moving.
Oh dear.
So is this thing in orbit in space? Is it just sitting there or
it's
what?
just suspended in space.
You know.
Then
How
we're
far?
gonna start
Where?
the rocket.
Relative. So it's still moving. It's just a question of relative to
Not
what?
moving, no, it's still.
So now how do you get it to move without...
Look, the
without putting
rocket's
it in-
sitting in space, not moving at all.
It's
And then
moving
he's
in space.
asking,
Everything's moving.
Will it move before you... Do you have to keep talking? All right, you go. Sorry.
Okay, so everything moves.
Sorry to stop you butting in, but you can keep going.
What is the
Oh, no, I'll butt in when you
I
talk
don't
bollocks.
mean to talk while you're butting in.
Don't
mate.
upset
Go ahead.
I'll butt in when you talk bollocks, okay?
Well, he's a mod and you're not upset him.
Well, you're butting in like bollocks too.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, okay.
So anyway,
You're just not understanding the depth of this conversation.
Yeah.
There is no depth to this conversation. You don't understand what the
Yes,
hell
and
you're
that's
talking
what
about.
you're not understanding.
There is no depth to this conversation. You have no idea what the fuck
And
you're
you're
talking
trying to
about.
bring depth to it. There can't be any. You don't get it, do you?
Sorry, I just zoned out because.
We'll zone back in now.
Complete load of bullshit.
The rocket.
Hang on, Chemo. Who the fuck was just saying that there's no depth to this conversation?
That's NASA.
Because obviously,
Flat Earth destroyed.
I know you were saying that but in reference to someone
I was
else
agreeing with
that
him.
was talking.
I said it. He agreed with me.
Oh, okay. Well then, yep. Good as.
Well, I mean, it is.
what makes
There's
it so
depth in the
marvelous.
conversation. Unfortunately, it's in the shallow end of the pool right now.
That's what I mean.
And what would you say is the shallow end of the pool?
Oh, about 1 foot.
Oh, so would that be about the 64?
kiddie pool.
The
It's
64
the
flat
little
Earthers
teeny
watching.
tiny-
That'd be your
It's a
part,
side- the little
Jazzy.
teeny
Watching right
tiny
now.
Your
mate.
part is very shallow. You're not going deep enough your explanation.
No, because you guys haven't explained shit so far.
And that's the point. What's the point of explaining shit when shit don't stick?
Because people like to learn, people like to listen.
No, you don't,
people
Chemo.
like
You don't want to learn.
engage.
Hang on. I want to have this conversation with you real quick.
Are you misunderstanding me again, Jezza? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think I am. Because you're all over the fucking show, mate.
Yeah.
Is there a fucking pressure gradient? And if there is, if you agree that there is, then we've got a problem that we don't need a container.
There's always a pressure gradient, mate.
Observable.
Yeah, so if there's a pressure gradient, especially on a sphere, we don't need a container if there's a pressure gradient.
Even in the shallow end of the pool,
Right,
there's a pressure
Gaza,
gradient.
rockets. How do they work in space in a vacuum? You said.
Oh my fuck,
You
we've
said,
fucking
no,
talked
you
about
gotta
this,
continue
dumb
from the
cunt.
part where you said it starts to move before anything is expelled from the back.
Rockets, by and part, are ballistic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know what ballistic means?
Yeah, but we're talking about, does the rocket move?
No. I need to know that you know what ballistic means because you just keep coming back
Gaza,
saying that.
because you've made a big boo-boo, you don't
pronounced-
want to focus on it. Okay? You said
pronounced
the
ballistic.
Do you
rocket
know
starts
what-
to move before something expels from the back.
Okay.
They're not ballistic.
Yes, they are ballistic. What is wrong with
They
you?
are.
This is Jazz's rocket, a ballistic.
No, because you have a thrust control system on board. Ballistic means you fire it, and then whatever energy you impart, that's where it's going to go. A rocket does not work that way. It has its own control.
Well known,
But
understood.
it can change its trajectory in the middle of its mission.
Dude, and that happens with every single fucking stage. With the first stage.
It's not ballistic.
the second stage does not kick in straight away. It takes a couple of seconds, which means from that second that it's moving, it's on a ballistic trajectory.
No, you idiot! Because I can change its thrust vector.
Oh my god!
Rocket, with
It
all
is
due
that
respect,
makes it not ballistic.
For the
can
2
I
seconds
just
it's
suggest
not
that
powered,
you don't
it's ballistic.
understand the
Yeah,
science behind
understand.
Jazz's rocket technology?
Okay.
That's all that's going on. Here. Jazz has his own thing going on.
No, let's not mock Jazza because look, this is his idea. Okay, he needs to be able to freely speak his idea.
Chemo, don't try to tell me what to do, especially when you don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, behave yourself, Chemo.
Can't be mocking Jazz's ballistic.
I can do it, Chemo. I can.
They're mocking you now, Jazza. You see?
No, nobody's mocking. I'm trying to give Jazza some room to operate, to display his brilliance here. You're doing exceedingly, Jazza. Continue, please.
Curved. I'm glad you just said that, because what I just said, I just fly fished you, Curved, and whoever else just said the answer to my question. I just fly fished you guys and just fucking hooked yous.
Bro, we all know.
I'm sorry.
about
I'm going to put you on the
equal
beach.
opposite
I'm going to let you.
Let's
I'm going to let you.
talk
I'm going to let you in
about
the water.
flat earth position.
I always
What
thought
do
you were
they
a couple
say?
levels
Listen
above
what they
Jazza.
say, guys. The exhaust leaks, the ejection leaks out of the threshold. Therefore, not having a one vector directionality and the counter reaction propelling the rocket. I mean, let's get to the crux of what the fucking counter arguments actually.
You got that right, Jazza. Don speaks your language. You should understand him cleanly.
I don't know what the fuck he just said.
Yeah?
He was tripping on something.
Jazza, that's how you sound, by the way.
Yeah. So either way, guys, what if we know that there's the opposite reaction in the mass ejection flow? We know we can pressurize a fucking vessel, fucking make a fucking hole in that vessel, and the vessel's gonna go in the opposite direction that the shit leaks out of it from.
Not in the vacuum.
Yes,
So
it's in a vacuum.
again, so this is fine. If you want to say not in a vacuum, let's talk about fucking why. Like I was saying, why when at the threshold of exhaust is everything just bleeding out in all directions and not propel? Like, tell me why not? Why?
Different for it to push off. That's why.
It doesn't.
Oh, you fucktard.
So I'm asking you. That's why Jazza said it starts to move before something comes out. That's wrong. When something comes out, then it starts to move. And that doesn't happen in space.
Yeah, well, it comes out in space. The stuff comes out, so it should move.
No, how can it if you've got nothing to push off?
Well, you said
it doesn't need stuff to push off on you, fucktard.
Come
out. It pushes against you.
Oh, let me try the analogy I used before. So that rocket, you take it. Don, this is for you. No, that rocket.
You know this. Talk about what would actually be different. Like,
listen to what I'm saying. You take a rocket, and then you take a vacuum cleaner from your house, put it like a giant one, put it behind the rocket, turn it on. How can the rocket move if all what's coming out is sucking away or being pushed away at an incredible rate?
Kim, would a handheld vacuum be good enough, or you need something bigger?
No, it has to be a very powerful.
How would you use a vacuum?
That's the principle. It doesn't have to be a real vacuum, but that's the principle. The principle is that.
Does it need to be a wet dry vac, or can you just be a dry?
You can
vac?
laugh, Don. This is the point.
Hang on.
You put that vacuum behind the rocket, right? Turn it on. What do you think will happen?
Canister or an upright?
Everything into the vacuum that's coming out of the rocket. So how can the rocket move if it's not got a table?
Flow directionality is how it moves, I think. Is that a better technical way to say it?
Okay, listen then. I'll ask you the same thing I asked to Jazza.
Yes, Don, there is.
So listen, it starts to move. When the rocket starts to move, Don, when does the rocket start to move? When the stuff comes out the back, right?
Chemo.
I think it's as it crosses the threshold.
Chemo, have you ever studied physics?
Look, Don.
Chemo, have you ever studied physics?
When does
we all know the answer to that is no.
Obviously,
I really
because
don't
you
know
don't understand the
I
third
don't
law
know
of thermal movement.
It doesn't matter what the fuck I know. We all can agree.
If there's an
on the
equal and
step
opposite
one.
reaction,
You
okay?
agreed.
No, I didn't agree. I'm saying if there's an equal and opposite reaction, when the stuff comes out the back,
Very good. Next.
where is that equal and
Let's
opposite
move
reaction?
on. Let's move on. Okay.
I think Don and Chemo were classmates, by the way.
Oh, by the way, Chemo, since you understand the third law of motion now, can we talk about something else?
No,
Next.
let me just clear this up. Don, where is the equal and
No, you're
opposite
not gonna-
reaction in space? Don, where is?
Do you hear Rocket trying to talk about us at school and shit? Unless you're talking chemistry formulas.
Don't worry
you
about these guys. They're just trying to knock you off your perch, right?
Nothing.
They don't know how rockets work. They've never seen a rocket in real life go into space, okay? So they're panicking and frustrated that people like yourself are thinking, well, how would the rocket move if stuff is coming out the back? How can it move? What's it pressing
third
against?
law. Every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction.
So what is the opposite reaction in space?
Same thing. Equal. Stuff's going out the back, therefore the rocket moves forward.
Yeah, but what's the opposite reaction? The rocket moves forward. What's the opposite?
Out
the back. It's being pushed out the back, you go forward.
Exactly.
The RCS fires sideways, you go sideways, the other way.
Right, so Don,
exactly
think about what's being said here. In a boat with the oars, you pressure off the water, you go forward. On the floor, you walk, you push your foot off the ground, you go forward. In a car,
sit in your chair, sit in your chair with a bowling ball.
So at this point, we realise that everything needs something to push off. Now, in space, I'm asking you, what is the equal and opposite reaction?
It does not need anything that pushes against the rocket. It expels it out the back, pushes against the rocket. That's how it works.
But
you can
the rocket moves then before something comes out the back.
No.
How?
We know a gun doesn't recoil off of the air. You know.
You can be in a chair and throw a bowling ball backwards.
Explain. Does the stuff coming out the back move at the same time? What's going on? So the rocket moves.
I know.
That's pretty cool, Harold. I've never seen this one before.
See, you can't handle these simple questions because you know space is.
No, because you're so stupid you don't understand either the question you're asking or the answer you're getting.
Yeah, I want you to break it down.
I can't break it down any simpler for you, Chemo. You actually have to think and study some
science. Very
intricately.
Let's look at it. Let's dissect it and explain.
Did you see this guy posted with a skateboard and a gun?
He's on the ground.
That's exactly how it works.
Would that work when he's in the air?
But no, it's not pushing off against. The only thing it's pushing off against is
if he jumps out of an aeroplane and starts firing, can he go in all directions?
No, because gravity will pull him down.
Right, so he's got a surface here that he's pushing off.
Please.
So what? He'll still move sideways.
Yeah, without that surface area, none of this will happen.
No, he'll still move sideways.
Yeah, you need a surface area.
And if you fired down, he would slow himself down incrementally.
There's no surface area like this in space.
Surface area has nothing to do with this, Chemo.
Can I ask you a question about Chemo?
Yeah.
So I was at the game last night, and I was watching another game on TV, and it was some old rerun, and they had a sign in the back, and it was like Chemo something. I couldn't take a snapshot of the screen quick enough, but I could show you it has the O blocked off. But I swear it's just KIMO space and then some lion face or something. What is that? What is Chemo? I'll show you the picture. I just took it last night. I promise you. I wanted to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Chemo's hula pie.
What is Chemo? What does Chemo mean?
Don, it's not about me.
See that right there where it says KIM?
The Hawaiian thing.
Yeah.
It's just an O in the space. It's the whole word. It's just KIMO. What does that mean?
Well, that's
see, you could
I don't know if that says chemo or just him.
It's a horse. What is it, man? Tell me.
It's just a name. What else?
Well, because it's a sponsor for the thing, and it happened so quick. Oh, look! It says it down on the table.
Chemo is a short haiku-like poem originating in Israel.
Chemo Sabi.
Got an S there.
Is that what it is? Chemo Sabi? Is that what you are, the big Chemo Sabi?
I don't know.
Sabi.
I have no idea.
Chemo shit.
I chose your name for a reason. You don't want to share it?
No,
Chemo's
it's
wine
not
for
about
James.
me now, Don. It's really not. It's really about
is,
the
fuck's
liars who talk about space, rockets, science included with that. And all we're doing is expose. I know you want to break.
Well, yeah, Chemo, I can't help the fact that you're too stupid to understand this.
I know, Brian. That's an excellent. That's what I was thinking of. That's what they have
I'm
to
not gonna
understand.
pretend that you don't know simple logic. You're not that stupid.
Look at what Brian's just posted. When the vacuum is behind the exhaust, it's got nothing to push off.
What?
Cannot go forward.
Yeah, but
this video by Brian is fucking amazing.
Epic. That explains how a rocket cannot work in space.
Chemo, they put the space in you. Isn't that funny as hell, too?
So he's holding it in place with the vacuum cleaner. Got it.
It's not Kemosabe, dude. It's Kemosabe.
No, look at the thing by it's Kemosabe.
No, there's a space. I saw it live, and if you look at the table, there's a space.
But it's the same thing that Brainry just posted.
Right yourselves.
That's Brian Mabbott. That's so wrong, mate.
Yeah, well, the vacuum is so you're holding it in place with the vacuum.
Vacuum is at 90 degrees to the
yeah,
thread.
90 degrees holding it in place.
It's so illogical what you've shown there, Brian.
You lot are so fucking.
You're holding it in place with the vacuum cleaner.
You are just
the suction is too strong.
You don't understand what's going on there, do you? And you're trying to equate that to space.
It cannot get thrust because there's
because the vacuum cleaner is holding the straw in place.
You really think that's equal to what's happening in space?
Yes,
Brian,
it's exactly the same thing it was.
Incorrect. You guys are full of shit.
It's the same principle because unless the rocket moves before something comes out the back,
you honestly believe that's what's happening in space?
Exactly what's happening was.
Vacuums don't suck.
Right.
Vacuums don't suck. Stop it.
So you understand what? That's why I say if you put a cleaner like that behind the rocket,
vacuums.
I understand what you're saying.
You don't even have to take it. That's the vacuum of space. That's what it does. It acts like this vacuum at home.
Vacuums do not.
You don't understand what you're saying.
No one said they suck. It's a low pressure very low. So the high pressure would immediately
don't get it,
try to equalize with the lower pressure. See? And that's why you don't have enough fuel in that rocket to make a large enough cloud or an atmosphere behind the rocket and maintain that atmosphere behind the rocket in space to keep moving and changing direction. You would need like a super massive spaceship that has billions and billions of tons of air that you can blow out and then you can push off that. But then how are you going to get the air back into the spaceship and then push it out again? Nonsense.
They do not realise they cannot steer anything unless they've got a medium to force against.
Exactly.
How do they propel themselves? How the fuck would they ever stop?
Stop, turn, reverse, anything.
You have to turn it round. How do they turn it round? It's lunacy.
Why don't you...
So Don, hold on, let me ask Don a second. Don, so let's think about this, Don. Don, how would they reverse a rocket in space?
That little car in the balloon's not even in a vacuum.
Don, how would a rocket reverse?
Don't it be cool to talk about it on the real level of
See,
what
Don,
actually...
you can't handle it when the real questions are thrown at you. How would a rocket reverse in space?
Dude, that's their biggest problem is stopping this shit, dude.
Reverse. How do they reverse in space?
You turn the rocket around the other way and you fire in the opposite direction.
You got that way.
Fire in the opposite direction and then what? You hit off what?
Chemo. Y'all, we need to boycott this book. That is some baby shit right there.
Work how they say it works.
Don, how does a car reverse? What does it do to go forward and backwards?
Well, how do you do a left?
Look, I understand
don't believe in left punches.
This is a new
I
level
don't believe in left punches. Okay, I get a left punch. Now, how do you do a right punch? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck.
What the hell are you even trying to equivocate there?
I mean, you can't agree to the first thing and question just the opposite of the first thing. You just turn it around.
Turn it around.
Turn the rocket around, not the spaceship. You'd have to turn the rocket around.
Who cares,
Why not play the game? No, actually, why not change the game? Why doesn't anybody request actual experiment? If anybody wants to say that you can handle a spaceship or anything in a vacuum, show me vacuum, show me something, it explodes there, and show me how it's moving around. I demand that. If you want to say that you can steer a rocket in a vacuum, do it.
Nah.
Oh, hey, Andrew, hold on. Whoa. Hold on a second, Don. Hold on, Don. Got a new guest. Hey, Andrew, I haven't met you before. How are you?
Hello there.
Hi. So you've just came straight in there with a good shot, a nice shot. So you're under the impression rockets don't work in space.
Oh well, I'm not under any impression. I just want evidence.
Okay, but
according to the way I think of it,
go on.
I could come up with some explanation, but it's so hard and so pragmatically almost impossible that I'm more inclined to believe it can't be done.
I didn't mute you, Page Shot. No, I didn't mute. I unmute
you. But then again, I'm completely open to anything. I just demand evidence.
What about the shape of the Earth, friend? Andrew, what is the shape in your mind?
I'm 100% convinced it's flat.
Excellent. Welcome. So these guys are all globe Earth. There's only a few flat Earthers in here. There's me, there's you, there's
no problem. You can deal with it.
Don't forget Don.
Don is not a flat Earther. He's
he's flat Earth adjacent.
Anyway, and there's Globus. Sorry, Globus. Nearly missed you there. And Globus as well. So there's just a few of us in here.
Guys.
And and peace of mind. Sorry, peace of.
What's the current topic of discussion?
Hey, very low, I think.
It's just derp, mate. The usual derp.
So anyway, Andrew, this is great because they seem to think that flat Earth is not growing. So how did you understand the Earth is not a globe? Let's go through all of that first.
Oh well, if anybody's telling me it's not growing, for about 1.5 years, I kept on saying it's the dumbest shit ever. I'm one of these people that was heavily indoctrinated into mathematics. Well, mathematics is cool, but physics and astrophysics and all that. We have something in my country during Saturdays. The best kids at high school or whatever get together in some whatever the hell groups, and we talk with the best teachers there and whatnot. And basically, I was part of astrophysics. And you can imagine it was pretty hard for me from the standpoint of the ego to let go of that. So it took a long time. Like, I figured all the other conspiracies, literally everything from economics
say
to
again,
politics.
A little bit quick. What do you have to do with physics?
Well, I'm pretty good at physics.
Okay.
Like, pretty good.
What, you went to college, university, or stuff like this?
Yeah, right now I'm in the first year of engineering electronics.
Excellent. Excellent. So
you're kind of guy, Nick.
You're not that old. You're young. Yes.
Yep.
Good man.
About
good
20.
Man. They don't have to give you anything, but that's good stuff. So it's growing. What convinced you though that it's not a ball? I mean, these guys have got photographs. They've got that.
So the main thing was whenever I tried to debunk all the claims that flat Earth does, I always use things that I didn't really have proof of. Ergo, there was no scientific method being used. And QE made me clearly see this. And then I started questioning everything, and I realized all the things I believe are true are actually not based on anything which is scientifically proven. And then I actually started to debunk myself nonstop, like point by point. And I realized you can't prove it's spinning globe. You just can't. It's only our minds and the way we perceive that are stuck to that idea.
Okay, well that's good to hear. But have you been involved in a lot of debates, a lot of discussions before?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in science and pseudoscience and 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
I've debated some people here and there.
Okay, good.
A breath of fresh air.
Hey, Chemo, have you ever debated the C4 pussy dude who went and visited Jose and brought him gifts like a little fanboy? You ever debated that pussy dude?
Oh no.
He doesn't talk, does he? Not much.
C4's his
All right, well, hold on. Let's not forget Andrew. Okay, so these guys here are adamant that they're on a spinning ball. We've got rocket scientists, we've got engineers, got a son of an astronaut. So we've got so many people here who feel strongly that they have enough supporting evidence to believe they're on a ball. Yeah. So
yep.
Let's get into it. I mean, you sound like you know what you're talking about. What is the?
I mean, I'm not a genius on it, but I can handle it.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I say, what is let's start with one point. What brought you to the flat Earth? What was the main one thing that you looked at and you said just can't be a
Well, what I'm gonna say is not like the one that's most relevant, but it's simply the one that clicked with me so hard that I started like screaming at 2 a.m. in the morning. I just started watching again images of sunlight through clouds, and it just hit me after that many months. I finally looked at it and realized there's no way that is 93 million miles away. No way. Like, that's optically impossible. You can
don't know, man. You lied to us.
One last point, Kurt, before you attack him, because I was about to say you are about to get jumped on. One last point. Andrew.
I'm not attacking.
One last point. So, Andrew, is there anything that would bring you back to the globe? Is there anything that you need that would say, okay, this is okay, proof of a globe, and this is what I'm, things like that?
No, that's not a proof. That's, as I said, that's just something that clicked with me. So the things that proved me, the 3 points, vacuum next to atmosphere next to the vacuum of space, no direct measurements of the Earth's curvature. What else? No experiments that prove the spinning.
Yeah. All right, guys, is all yours.
The main things. And also there's lots of nitpicky aspects of it, but the main ones are these.
Wait, who lied though?
What you doing?
Sorry?
Come on. Just walking round in circles.
Brian, your hot mic.
Sorry.
And also the black swan.
If the globe is that one,
not to forget about the black swan.
Let's do it. Gravity. There's gravity which holds the atmosphere. Gravity explains the
the biggest possibility for flat Earth is fucking these dumbasses being dumb and thinking they're smart. That's it. That's the only way. That's the only all this other shit, dude. Like, get real, dude. You agree with it. Stop pretending.
Well, I'm asking him I've never spoke to Andrew before, so I'm asking him what he thinks of gravity.
Mate, he's just role playing. Of course, he does agree with me, but he has to play if nobody wants to debate me. What's the problem?
No, but I'm saying
Oh yes, excellent. Veach is here. So this is the astronaut's son. His father went to space.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, here
That's
you
cool.
go. So this is excellent.
This should be interesting.